the woods. But on Wednesdays, we like to put the spotlight on the farm women's group, Common Ground.
Common Ground is a group of farm women who want to be a resource for consumers who want to know more about how their food is grown. So joining us today is Crystal Klug. Crystal, nice to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You bet.
How's everything in your area?
You know, we'd like it to be a little bit warmer, but what do you do?
I know it's going to continue for a while the way it looks. So you're here today to talk about greenhouse gases. How much would you say does the agriculture industry contribute to these emissions?
So the EPA put out a study a couple years ago, and they looked at greenhouse gas emissions from 1990 to up until a couple years ago. And what they discovered is that agriculture plays a 9% role in all of greenhouse gas emissions. So there's the other 91%, and the main source of greenhouse gas emissions for that 91% is fossil fuels. So things that we need for heat, electricity, and transportation. If we look closer at our 9% of agriculture, 4% of that is livestock. And when you think of greenhouse gas emissions, a lot of people think cows, right? But it's really important to think about the big picture. All food has an environmental impact, but there's different nutritional levels of those foods. So some of the foods that have the lowest source of greenhouse gas emissions are things like sugars and syrups, which don't have a very good nutritional value. But if you study cattle, they're able to do some really great things. So in the state of Nebraska, we have a lot of grass and forages that this area, like the Nebraska sandhills, for example, it's not good for the plow. You can't grow beans or lettuce on it, but what you can do is grow grass. And the way that cattle play an important part of the biodiversity in our environment in Nebraska is they're able to eat that grass and those forages, and they're able to turn that into a high quality protein that we can eat. So it's really important to look at the nutritional value when you're talking about greenhouse gases and foods.
Weighing those, both of those together. What do you think farmers and ranchers are doing to reduce greenhouse gas emissions? I know they're doing a lot.
Yes, so we're taking that 9%, okay, that we're responsible for greenhouse gas emissions, and we're looking at that every single day. What can we do to get better? I know on our farm the last 5 years we've moved towards a more no-till operation, and we're also planting more cover crops. What those cover crops do is they protect the soil, they protect from water erosion, and they really hold those nutrients in that soil. We also use the manure from our cattle, and we put that on our crops, and we're able to use less synthetic fertilizers. But we're always doing things to look, what's the next level that we can reduce that number even more.
More of a natural way of farming.
Exactly. Exactly.
Crystal, thank you. And I know you're sticking around with a recipe that looks really good.
Yes, meatballs.
Meatballs.
Comfort food. Still in the mood for comfort food.
I need that. Okay.